The Catechism of Perseverance. Course 1, Chapter 45. Preparation for the Messiah, Monarchy of the Assyrians and Persians, AC 900, 460. Question: what do you mean by preparation for the Messiah? Answer: by preparation for the Messiah, we mean that Providence directed all the events of the world to the glory of the Messiah and to the establishing of his reign, which is the gospel. Question: how do you prove this truth? Answer: to prove this truth, we must bear in mind that from eternity, God had resolved. First, that the promise and the religion of the Messiah, that is to say, the true religion, should be preserved among the Jewish people down to the coming of our Lord. Second, that the Messiah should be born of the Jewish people, of the tribe of Judah, and of the family of David, in the little city of Bethlehem. Third, that the reign of the Messiah, that is, the gospel, should be established with great rapidity from one end of the world to the other. Question: how would you prove from this? Answer: we prove that the events which happened among the Jewish people and among infidel nations all concurred in the accomplishments of this great design. Question: how do you prove that the events which took place among the Jews and among the infidel nations concurred to preserve among the Jewish people the promise and religion of the Messiah, that is to say, the true religion? Answer: it was to preserve among the Jews the perpetual remembrance of the Messiah, that God so often renewed the promises, that he prefigured him in very many ways, and continued to announce his characteristics by the voice of his prophets. Question: continue. Answer: it was to preserve the religion of the Messiah, that is to say, the worship of the true God among the Jews, that Moses established so many laws and ceremonies, destined to prevent that people from falling into idolatry, force them by great calamities to forsake idols and return to him. Finally, it was for this same end that God established, not far from Judah, the great monarchy of the Assyrians. Question: how do you prove that the great monarchy of the Assyrians, or Babylon, was established to preserve the worship of the true God among the Jews? Answer: we prove that the great monarchy of the Assyrians, or Babylon, was established to preserve the worship of the true God among the Jews by the very words of Isaiah the prophet. He says that the Assyrians are a rod, which God uses to correct his people as often as they fall into idolatry, and force them to return to the worship of the true God. Question: was this prophecy accomplished? Answer: yes, this prophecy was perfectly accomplished. The Assyrians corrected the Jewish people so effectually of the inclination for idolatry that after the captivity of Babylon, they never fell into it again. The empire of Assyria, having fulfilled its mission, passed by the order of God into the hands of the Persians. Question: how do you show that the events which took place among the Jews and the infidel nations concurred to cause the Messiah to be born of the tribe of Judah and of the family of David in the city of Bethlehem? Answer: it was to cause the Messiah to be born at Bethlehem that God, 2,000 years before, called Abraham into the land of Judea, that he promised to give that land to his descendants, that he moved heaven and earth to bring the Jews out of Egypt and conduct them to that country in which Bethlehem was situated, and he kept them there despite the neighboring nations. Question: continue. Answer: it was for that, amongst the many important cities burnt and destroyed, God always preserved the little city of Bethlehem. In the partition of the Promised Land, this city fell to the tribe of Judah, and at a later period became the inheritance and dwelling place of the family of David. Finally, it was for this he established the great monarchy of the Persians, the second of the four great empires, foretold by Daniel. Question: how do you prove that the great monarchy of the Persians was established to cause the Messiah to be born in Judah? Answer: it is proved by the very words of the prophet Isaiah. He called Cyrus by name 200 years before the birth of that prince, and says that the Lord will make him victorious over his enemies in order to free the Jewish people from the captivity of Babylon, to conduct them back into Judea, in which was the little city of Bethlehem, the patrimony of the family of David. Question: was this prophecy accomplished? Answer: this prophecy was accomplished to the letter. Cyrus and his successors delivered the Jews from the captivity of Babylon, gave them liberty to return to Judea, retained them notwithstanding the efforts of their enemies, and they remained there until the birth of the Messiah.